It's no secret women are leaving it later to have children, but 66? That's how old Adriana Illiescu is, and she's just had a healthy baby girl, making her the oldest mother in the world. Far too old, say the experts. Here in Australia, our oldest mum was 53 when she gave birth to triplets. And wait till you see how she's coping. So, how old is too old? And what is a fit and proper mother? We decided to investigate, an investigation that took us to 3 continents, 5 countries. And in our travels, we discovered something else, a sinister racket, an international trade in human eggs. For millions of people around the world, there's something terribly wrong with this picture. She may look like a proud gran. In fact, Adriana Illiescu is the mother. She's just given birth to daughter Eliza Maria at the age of 66.
I think it's a beautiful gift. My life has been made complete with something that was missing. The emptiness I felt in my life has been filled.
This Romanian university professor is the world's oldest mother.
She's just too old. We have to have the courage to say this. She's too old, and it's selfish.
Miss Illiescu was briefly married in her early 20s, but decided not to have children. Indeed, had 2 abortions. Now, still single, she's discovered it really is never too late. What do you intend telling your daughter about why you decided to have her at the age of 66?
I will probably break this to her in stages as she is growing up. I'm not worried, because by that time she'll also be able to understand my achievements for a lifetime.
It's become a worldwide phenomenon. First-time mothers are getting older, much older. In fact, the number of women giving birth in their 40s has doubled in the last decade. And it's no longer shocking to find mothers in their 50s.
I'm an emotional healer and a life coach, and I thought, what is my deepest desire? And my deepest desire for me personally was to have children and to have a family. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and do that.
Okay. Would you like a tissue?
Alita St. James simply decided she wasn't ready to have children until she was 56. There's no father or father figure in this household either. But this new-age New Yorker had no trouble finding a doctor willing to help.
He said, Alita, you look young, you have the body of a 30-year-old, you look fabulous, there's no reason why you can't do this, let's go for it.
When people say you look fabulous, you do, but they're talking about something else.
Physiologically. In other words, you could be, like I'm 57 right now, but I have, physiologically, I'm not 57. My body is like 35, 40 years old. And then we're going to see the dinosaurs at the museum. You love those. Those are great.
Twins Francesca and Gian are now 4 months old, and Alita is coping well, with help from her 24-hour-a-day nanny, Edna. For Alita, it's all perfectly natural, even though none of this would have been possible without a willing egg donor.
I know that my particular donor was very, very happy. She said that this woman must really want to have children to go through all this. And I know I'm going to bring up my children very well. And I want it's a gift.
So the first sample is 2.5 mils.
Okay.
And it's slightly viscous.
It is IVF technology that has given women in their 50s and 60s the chance to have babies. But it also requires doctors who are willing to take on much older patients. And the proudest IVF specialist in the world today is the man who engineered Adriana Illiescu's pregnancy, Dr. Bogdan Marinescu. So there's no such thing as too old?
It's very difficult to say too old.
You would do it again?
Maybe yes, maybe not. We'll see.
What's happened with Miss Illiescu is we've seen her, you know, the older woman trying to get dressed up as a baby doll is really what has worried us.
Bioethics campaigner Josephine Quinterval says what's happening is horrifying. Just because science has made it possible doesn't make it right.
I don't think that IVF should be offered to anybody who's past natural reproductive age, which is usually determined by the woman's menopause. And I think there's a sort of sense of ridiculousness about a woman of that age, imagining that she fulfills the model of motherhood.
I think somebody who doesn't wholeheartedly congratulate you on your baby is a person who's suffering from an inferiority complex.
So no one has come up on the street and said, shame on you?
Nobody has approached me in the street saying, shame on you. On the contrary, while I'm travelling on the bus, for instance, there are people who invite me to take a seat.
Miss Illiescu very much wanted a child, but she couldn't achieve this pregnancy with her own body. She simply didn't have any viable eggs left.
And that's led to a sinister new trade. Romania is still a desperately poor country, and with few laws to protect them, its young women are being preyed upon for an international trade in human embryos. It's a flourishing business, driven by the growing number of older IVF patients, where teenagers are lured into selling their eggs.
They didn't tell me anything about the procedure. It was a place when you could not ask any questions.
19-year-old Alina Neducu needed money to get married and heard that she could make quick cash by selling her eggs. But for Alina, it all went wrong and she was rushed to hospital.
I was feeling very bad. I was dizzy. I was vomiting. They said it was normal for me to feel bad.
Which company did you go to? Global Art. Global Art proved to be an unlicensed fertility clinic in the Romanian capital Bucharest, with connections to clinics in the US, Britain and Israel. Our repeated attempts to talk to the company proved fruitless. Hello? When Alina had her eggs removed here, she was paid the grand sum of $250. But check the company's website and you'll find that the women who receive these eggs pay a minimum $8,000 US for the treatment. Were your ovaries and your womb damaged?
Yes, the ovaries were very large and there was a lot of fluid inside.
For Alina, who sets out every night to work in a mattress factory, the $250 she earned was the equivalent of 3 months' pay. Now Alina fears that deal may have cost her her own chance to be a mother.
Well, to be very frank, I realized that I did something extremely stupid.
Egg donation is not an easy process. Your ovaries are going to be turned off and then turned on with stimulatory drugs that make them overproduce eggs, so that instead of producing 1 or maybe 2 eggs in a cycle, you may produce 20, 30. In a sense, it makes the ovaries explode.
So it's risky business.
It's risky business. I certainly don't think you have a right to expose any women to even minimal risks in order to provide somebody of 67 with a child.
Baby Eliza Maria was born premature and has spent the first 9 weeks of her life in hospital. Now, Adriana Illiescu is looking forward to taking her daughter home. And if she lives to the age of 87, as her own parents did, she reckons they can count on spending at least the next 21 years together. Do you think 21 years is enough with your daughter?
My time left with her will never be sufficient, no matter how much that is. But I expect my daughter, at the age of 19 or 20, to have plans about her own family. So she will always have a family.
So what does this aging mum have to look forward to? Well, there are clues.
How much are you looking forward to having this baby?
Very, very much. More than my own life.
In 1992, Rosanna Della Corte caused outrage in her small Italian village when, at age 60, she set out to become the world's oldest mother.
I know I can do it because I want it so much.
Back then, Rosanna was mourning the loss of her first child, 17-year-old Riccardo, in a motorcycle accident.
I lived for him. It was the most beautiful thing I had. And we loved Riccardo so much we can't live without him.
Fast forward 13 years and, thanks to IVF, Rosanna is the beaming mother of a new Riccardo.
To the people that think that it is a crazy thing having a child at my age, they don't know what it means losing a son, and they don't know how happy I am about having had Riccardo.
So how is this now 73-year-old handling motherhood second time around? Especially since Riccardo number 2 seems every bit as much a handful as his late brother.
I never feel tired. I feel like a 20-year-old woman. When I meet with other mothers and they complain that they feel tired, they have headache, they just drive me crazy because I don't feel old at all.
Top 10 good things about being a 57-year-old first-time mother. Here we go. Number 10. Baby screaming, turn down the volume on your hearing aid. Number 9. Sweet 2-for-1 deal on strained peas.
But for women like Alita St. James, there's a double standard at work.
If a man is in his 80s, that seems to be fine. So why are women stopped to have their dreams and desires manifested? Because society says, you know, this is ridiculous. You're too old.
I was 56 when I had my first child.
So there you go.
Piece of cake.
Sure.
And all these men that were kind of making quibs at me are my age. And they're having children, you know?
Table, please.
So maybe the true test is not how old mothers are, but how well they cope.
So you guys want to go?
That's what.
Wendy Kenyon is 60. 7 years ago, she had triplets, Rebecca, Dorell and Trent. She already had a 10-year-old son, Dean. So how's she doing?
Have you finished?
You know, and people say to me, you know, you're old enough to be their grandmother. Yes, sure enough. But there are lots of grandmothers out there bringing up children.
Rebecca and Trent, that'll do.
Sure, I get tired,
Rebecca?
but so do any other mothers of triplets or anybody who has 4 children. Sure, you know, people my age are off on cruises and looking at retirement and all that. My life is filling the children. We have a great time. You know, we do all the things that normal 30-year-olds do with their children.
All this, of course, is still ahead for 66-year-old Adriana Illiescu as she gets ready to go home and into the history books.
And you don't mind being in the Guinness Book of Records for being the oldest mother in the world?
If you can put in a good word for me, I would be pleased to be in the Guinness Book of Records. And I think my daughter also would be very happy.
Are you confident that you can give your children what most other children would get from younger parents?
Not only confident, I can put my money on it.
We still have to grapple with how old is too old. But what's not in doubt is that every one of the women we spoke to love and cherish their babies.
If you're happy and you know it's stomp your feet. If you're
happy and you know it, stomp your feet.
And as far as they're concerned, we'd better start getting used to it.
Life will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinfort. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au, as well as the 9Now app.